Okay, so now we're working on a 2004 Chevrolet Epica. These vehicles, I believe, were only sold in Canada. And the problem that we have is when I attempted the idea with the snap-on scanner, it says it doesn't support automatic ID. It comes up with the correct VIN number, but there is no... Oh yeah, there's an Epica. What am I talking about? Why doesn't it pick that one? It wasn't there before. 2.5 L6? Really? VIN L. Yeah, it's VIN L. Alright. So I guess we're in. I had tried to scan one of these a couple of years ago and the snap-on scanner didn't support it, but it looks like they found it, or maybe this was a different year, I don't know. It has a miss, so we're going to go into the engine and display codes. So it just didn't automatically ID it yet, it did pull a VIN. Okay, so we've got oxygen sensor heater code, and altitude sensor high circuit voltage, cylinder miss number 5, cylinder miss number 3, and a P0138 O2 sensor high voltage bank 1 sensor 2. So we're concerned about these misfires, so we're going to have a look at some freeze frame data if it's available. Display codes, clear codes, data display. Might be in here. I don't see any freeze frame data. Where's the generic functions? Okay, so we'll exit and re-ID as a generic at OBD2. Direct. And we'll see if we can pull freeze frame or mode 6 out of this thing. Continue. Five, 6, and 7. Mode 6. Well, now we need to know what the test IDs are for a Misfire. Well, we'll take a gamble and try this test ID 81 and see what it comes up with. That's definitely not a Misfire monitor. We'll just go through the available test IDs here and see if one of these looks like Misfire monitors. We have to go to all data and see if it has a list of the test IDs. Component 0, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't look like it. That doesn't look like it. Pass. 8C. the O2 sensor test results, or catalyst monitor test results, something like that. And last one. So none of these apply, so we have to manually enter the test ID. And it doesn't give us the option to manually enter the test ID. See that? Not special. Oh well, so mode 6 isn't going to help us on this one. So this 04 Epica is actually the same as a Daewoo, and unfortunately the Snap-on scanner doesn't support a Daewoo either. And I've gone in and looked at the engine data in the engine section here, and there is no Misfire monitors on this. The data display gives me 3 data lists that don't list Misfire counters, so we're going to have to go old school on this thing and go back to conventional test methods. It is an inline 6-cylinder, which is a very unusual arrangement. It's a transversely mounted inline 6-cylinder engine, coil unplugged by the looks of it. Probably dual overhead cam, certainly looks like dual overhead cam. So we're going to try and isolate which cylinder is actually misfiring. It said, according to the scan tool, it said it was on number 5, I believe, but we'll try and figure that out. So I see it's got a new coil in cylinder number 3 already, and if I unplug cylinder number 3 coil, it doesn't make any difference, it still runs exactly the same. So we're going to lap scope this coil and see if we got a control signal on the coil. It's got 3 wires on the coil, so it looks like it's probably got a transistor in it, but I'm not clear on that. So I went on Identifix and I dropped in the keyword, or I dropped in the VIN number, and I was surprised to find that it ID'd as a 2004 Epica from Canada. I wanted to look at wiring diagrams for the injectors, but it says, sorry, you're SOL. No matching documents in our database. Nothing. It's like the car doesn't exist. So maybe I'll try looking it up as a Daewoo, but I wanted to check the wiring because it looks like the wiring's been fixed to that coil, and I wanted to make sure the terminals were in the right spot. So I'll have to compare it to the other ignition coils. The lab scope hooked up to the center wire on the ignition coil, and the brown wire on this side of the ignition coil has battery voltage. Incidentally, it doesn't have battery voltage with a key on, it has to be running, so there must be some kind of relay. And I've got a conventional primary waveform that's on number 1 coil, so I'm going to move this and put it on the number 3 coil and see if I've got a waveform on number 3. And I do. So the primary is actually working. Pull it out, plug it in. So the primary is actually working. It looks like a perfectly normal waveform. So I'm going to pull that coil out and see if there's spark on it. So as you can see, there's a good quality spark on that. And it actually seems to miss worse with it disconnected and out. So I think we might have a mechanical problem with this engine. We have to go further. Okay, so I'm going to do a relative compression test, or try to. I've got a low amp clamp around the positive battery cable going to the starter, and I've got the Veris Edge set up here with AC coupling on channel 1. I tried to get a sync on channel 2, but it appears when I pull the fuel pump relay I lose power to the ignition coil, so I don't have a spark event either. There's no starter relay, so I can't jump the starter relay, and the starter is nearly impossible to get to, and there's probably something else I could do, but it's not very convenient without a wiring diagram. I got an assistant to crank it. Go ahead and crank. Okay. Now you can hear by the way it sounds when it's cranking that there's a compression problem. And if we scroll back here and look at some of these waveforms, what happened to it? Oh, there it is. It looks like there's more than one cylinder with low compression, so I'm going to try a real compression test on, at least on number 3, because that appears to be the cylinder that's got the miss. Definitely sounds like it has a compression issue. Okay, so I have the mechanical compression tester set up in cylinder number 2, and then we get my helper to crank the engine. Go ahead. Okay. So you can see we've got about 160 pounds compression in cylinder number 2, and we're going to try cylinder number 3. So now the compression tester is in cylinder 3. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and crank. Yeah, that's pretty definitive. Okay. That's pretty definitive. It's got a burnt valve or hole in the piston, a pretty serious loss of compression in that cylinder. I'm surprised it didn't show up on the relative compression test a little better. But regardless, it's picking up a lot of electrical noise. Couldn't clean that pattern up with a filter. So maybe I'll do a cylinder leak down test to see if it's a valve or a piston, but either way it's engine problem.